Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here. Welcome to The Witcher. This is going to be the first of 2 Witcher videos today. And the reason for that is this first video is going to be some very important updates I wanted to share with you regarding some changes that I've made to this game. And also we're going to go through all of the journal entries in here now, so we can all be on the same page. We'll have a very fresh start from a journal perspective. And then what I've decided is that when we get a new journal entry going forward, we're going to read it right then and there. And that way we can keep up and everything's going to be fresh. So I think that's the best way to go. I asked for some advice last time. I got a whole bunch of different opinions, and this is what I'm going to end up doing. So first things first, a couple of house cleaning items is I really want to thank Planet Destroyer on YouTube. He helped me out a lot. I was having, and I didn't even know this, and a lot of people didn't know this, but I had this weird bug where my stats were all messed up. My damage was actually in the 40 to 60 range up here. My armor was all over the map. All these bonuses were messed up. And apparently with any mod right now that you enable before you start a new game, it's going to affect your stats. And so I had that going on in the tutorial, and when I started the game, but he helped me fix it. So all you have to do is restart the game without any mods. So I've done that. I've gone through to the exact same point that I left off last time. And then you can re-enable your mods, reload your save, and you're good to go. So this right here, if as an example, let me put my sword away. This should actually be showing as 1 to 2 damage, right? And my armor is up because I'm wearing the Raven's armor and the Mage's trousers and boots and all that kind of stuff. So I've done all the math in here, made sure everything adds up correctly, and it does. But thank you very much, Planet Destroyer. That is such. I would have been just disheartened if I would have found that out in like 10 or 30 hours from now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. The other thing somebody mentioned was, and I am so happy about this too, if you take a look here, look at Geralt's hair now, as an example. Doesn't it just look better than in the previous video? If you go and look at it, you'll notice that the hair is just much cleaner. There's still lots of detail and everything, but nothing's as sharp, right? Everything's like normal now. What was really bothering me is everything was so over-sharpened. I just thought, hey, that's the way this game was. I didn't know. And somebody pointed out that you have to go and actually edit this user config file. I'll put links in the description as to which file it was and what you have to do. But basically you have to change this 1 to a 0 beside allow sharpen modifier in this config file. And it just makes it look a million times better. That over sharpening was driving me nuts, and I'm so happy that someone figured that out. The other thing that I want to mention is somebody has requested my Witcher save file from the first Witcher. Totally cool. I've uploaded it to my Dropbox. There's a link in the description. So if you feel like loading up The Witcher 2 and using my save file, that's cool. And then we're all on the same page, and I would actually really like that. So I had gotten that request from a couple of people, actually. So it's going to be in the descriptions of the videos from now on. Last thing I want to cover off is about spoilers. Please do not post any spoilers in the comments. Nothing has been drastically spoiled for me yet. But a spoiler would be anything that you wouldn't want to know going into the game. The whole point of these games is to really figure out the story and see what's going on and just get into it. So if there's anything that you want to post story related, just make sure it doesn't contain spoilers. I know that you guys know what those are, so try your best not to post them. That would make me very, very happy. Okay. That being said, let's go through these journals. As a reminder, I am going to do another video after this, so this one's going to be relatively short. But we're going through all the journals so that we're all up to date. So, first thing, we've gone through all of these quests from the last video. I want to read this location because this is essentially where we are right now at La Valette Castle. So, during my travels, I visited the dynastic abode of the La Valette family several times. Anyone who considers Vizima an impressive city is unlikely to have seen the ancestral citadel of the La Valettes. The immensity of the fortress is simply breathtaking, to the extent that calling it a mere castle is either a gross inaccuracy or a jest. Expanded over generations, the walled town boasts the greatest fortifications in Temeria, and perhaps in all the northern kingdoms. The citadel is located near the strategically important White Bridge, which connects the banks of the Pontar. It commands the entire area, including nearby trade routes and the river crossing. No wonder then that the rebellion of the Lavalettes disturbed Foltest's sleep. Okay, so basically this Lavalette castle is this huge, gigantic fortress. That's what I'm taking out of this. I don't know, like, during my travels, it almost sounds like some of these things are written, like, not... I don't know, it seems like they're not written from Geralt's perspective. And I remember somebody saying something about this, but I can't really remember. If it's spoilery again, don't tell me, but, yeah. So now we've got all these characters. We've got main characters, we've got secondary characters, it looks like. New Boy, we just learned about him at the end of the last episode. This soldier had acquired an allegedly miraculous amulet and truly believed its power would protect him from any and all harm. Recognizing that the pendant was useless, Geralt informed New Boy of this fact. So, kind of broke his heart, and that's too bad. I don't know, like, maybe I should have tried to convince him to give it to me or something. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is there, but maybe that will come back down the road. We have a couple of main characters to go through, so Mary Louisa Lavalette. I have chanced to visit the court of the Lavalettes on several occasions in the past. Invariably, I was greeted and received in a manner befitting my fame and talent. Baroness Mary Louisa was a very comely lady, her beauty having fully blossomed, her hair dark, her lips sensuous. As with many women married to markedly older men, rumors about her were plentiful, among them one claiming that she had a love affair with King Foltest himself, and that the monarch had fathered her younger children. No way. Okay. So Geralt earlier was mentioning to Triss, like, this is a war over love and all this stuff, and I didn't really know what was going on there. But now, this kind of makes a little bit more sense. Very interesting. Okay, Triss. I've known the sorceress Triss Marigold for a long time, for she is one of Geralt's closest friends. The young, pretty, talented, auburn-haired mage from Maribor hardly reminded me of the giggling flapper of years past. Her knowledge, abilities, and loyalty had brought her far. A hero from Sodden, known as the 14th of the Hill, for she was mistakenly counted as the 14th mage to die in that battle. Oh, interesting. She sat on the royal council of King Foltest of Temeria. And though they say that a monarch's favor is uncertain, for the king had once expelled all mages from Temeria, Triss had managed to gain Foltest's trust. As regards the Witcher, everyone who has witnessed to Triss's relationship with Geralt, anyone who saw them together, would easily confirm that these two had much in common, and it is common knowledge that an old flame never dies. Okay, so I guess our relationship is, our relationship, air quotes, is pretty public. Again, like, it's talking about The Witcher, and it's referencing me, so these journals are from someone else's perspective. They have to be. Geralt of... Oh, look at this. This is going to be good. Geralt of Rivia. Behold our hero. Subjected to mutations and rigorous sword and sorcery training as a child, he has become a superhuman monster slayer. Always penniless and often disdained by those whom he protects, he wanders the world seeking work. Fate has little mercy for him, piling obstacles in his way, yet he trudges on. He has more scruples than a begging bum has fleas. Doubts haunt him even when a band of ruffians, knives drawn, approaches him on the highway. Is he a good man? I do not think so. Does he try to maintain his humanity? I believe he does. You must know that Geralt of Rivia died once already, or at least everyone thought him dead. During a massacre in Rivia, he sought to defend non-humans and fell to overwhelming odds. Placed in a boat, he floated into the mist, into a realm where he finally found peace. Not for long. Because of forces to be mentioned later, Geralt returned just in time to defend the Witcher's ancient home fortress, and then embarked on a mission to recover the secret stolen from it. That is all, like, that is basically kind of summarizing the intro to the first Witcher, where you're defending Kaer Morhen after you have this amnesia sequence. Along the way, he took part in Scoia'tael Uprising, shattered a powerful criminal organization, and killed the Grand Master of the Order of the Flaming Rose. All the while, his fame as a lover grew. Well, that's Geralt for you. As if all this wasn't enough, he then foiled the attempted assassination of King Foltest of Temeria and became one of the monarch's most trusted men. And that's referencing the very end of The Witcher. So, very cool. Awesome. King Foltest. In retrospect, His Royal Majesty King Foltest was certainly an exceptional persona when compared to other crowned heads of the time. This King of Temeria, Prince of Sodden, Sovereign of Pontar and Mahakam, and Senior Protector of Bruges, Angren, Riverdale, and Elender, was a firm and decisive ruler. So, I mean, basically, I'm not all up with my, like, medieval terminologies here. Sovereign, I don't really know what the difference between, like, a sovereign and a king would be, and then Senior Protector. If somebody could actually clarify that for me, that would be great. King of Temeria, Prince of Sodden, Sovereign of Pontar and Mahakam, Senior Protector of Bruges, Angren, Riverdale, and Elender. So, I don't know what all the differences are there, but I would love to know. He was the kind of man who, when hit, made a sound suggesting he was forged of steel and not molded of bird tongue. Being unmarried, he led a rather casual private life. In his youth, while still a prince, Foltest strove to demonstrate what he was capable of, and he proved capable of much. The love affair he had with his own sister, right? So this is the whole thing about the Striga, by whom he fathered his eldest daughter, Ada, and his sister's name was also Ada, so a little bit confusing there, but anyways, he's got a daughter, Ada, from his sister. As is his later affection for Baroness Mary Louisa Lavalette, so pretty much why this whole war is raging, I'm guessing. Both relationships bore heavy consequences, so to speak, and in both instances, Geralt found himself stuck in the middle of the resulting mess. Geralt, man, we get stuck between all of these different relationships that happen. I don't know if that's going to happen a lot in this version of The Witcher, but man, like, he's like a relationship counselor, but in a very odd and specific way. Dandelion. Where's his picture? It is always awkward to... Yet... Oh, okay. That's weird. Okay, so Dandelion is writing these journals. Okay, this is interesting. That's really weird. There must be a reason for that, but it is always awkward to write about oneself, yet I cannot shirk this duty. In an effort to preempt any accusations of partiality, I shall set down the humblest of notes relating only the best known facts. Dandelion. In reality, the Viscount de Leteneuve, though titles are unimportant, and again, like a Viscount, what's the difference there? I gotta learn all these things. He is a certified troubadour, a lecturer at Oxford University, a persona known among society as a charmer, poet, dandy, an unparalleled lover. Almost everyone north of the Yaruga has heard of him, and those who have not are either boors or simpletons or both, as a result of which their opinions do not matter in the slightest. Dandelion played a significant part in the most important events of the era. He loved, fought, negotiated, and acquired immense knowledge, even that of the forbidden variety. His works are a testimony of the times, but it is in his moving poetic tropes that have brought him true fame. The important thing in this story is that Dandelion was a friend to Geralt of Rivia, possibly his only true friend. He was Geralt's confidant, advisor, and companion in misery, for it was impossible to experience good fortune in the Witcher's company. What Geralt did, Dandelion faithfully recounted, and one should not give credence to those who accuse this humble chronicler of confabulating. Okay, so Dandelion, yeah, super subtle dandy. He thinks quite highly of himself, but he's going to try to have a neutral approach. That's interesting that he's writing these journals. Vernon Roke. There is a man like Vernon Roke in every monarch's retinue. Brave and determined, ready to execute any command, and thoroughly hated at court, he knows that only allegiance and service to the king keep him in his position. Roke was the leader of the Blue Stripes, King Foltest's special forces. Okay, so King Foltest has this army, they're called the Blue Stripes, Roke is the leader. Got it. Among other things, for battling the Scoia'tael and quelling many a rebellious non-human community. Okay, so he's anti-non-humans. It was under his command that the unit rose to fame. Vernon earned Foltest's favor and trust through his deeds. One word from the king and he would jump headlong into fire, asking only how long he was to stay there and hold his ground. That's the kind of man Vernon Roke was at the time. Interesting. Boosie, or Bousie? No more than a lad back then. Bousie already displayed the pride and obstinacy typical of the Lavalettes. Some, however, attributed these qualities to the fact that King Foltest was his father. Okay, so he's like the bastard son. And then we have the daughter of Baroness Mary Louisa Lavalette, was a scant few summers old at the time. Rumors that King Foltest was her father gave beginning to many important events. So these are the two bastard children. And then Vess. So Vess, she came out into the interrogation room for like 2 seconds. I remember that Vernon called her in and took off the cuffs that I was wearing. The fair-haired Vess stood apart from the rest of Vernon Roke's unit, and not only in that she was the only woman in an elite formation of hardened cutthroats and swashbucklers. Her girlish face and shapely body would stand out even if a uniform did not emphasize them. For there is something in soldier women that attracts a man's gaze, and Vess was no exception. The reader should not, however, be misled by this description. One does not earn a Blue Stripes membership with good looks, but with skill, determination, and at times, ruthlessness. Anyone disregarding Vess would pay dearly for misjudging this young woman. Because of her gender, Vess would sometimes receive assignments where her beauty was more important than her combat abilities and efficiency. Roke had used Vess as his trump card more than once. Okay. I think I know what they're getting at there. So we don't have any monster locations. Or, sorry, monster entries. Don't have any crafting entries. Tutorial. There's some stuff in here. I'll take a look at that. Alchemy I want to check out. Okay. So, we've got formula for Rook. What is Rook? Rook is especially popular among witchers who believe that killing monsters quickly is their best defense. This potion increases muscle power, and thus damage dealt to foes in close combat. Unlike Thunderbolt, it has no side effects. Rook can alleviate the side effects of White Raffer's decoction, Gadwall, and Tiara. Interesting. One thing that I noticed, even in the tutorial with the two different potions that it gave us, is that one basically counteracted the side effects of the other. And I think that's going to be really interesting. And I like that it kind of gives you some of these combos. So you could use Rook in combination with these things to basically just get the benefits of these instead of taking the side effects. So that's kind of cool. Causes minor intoxication. Potions recommended for witchers who prefer to use their swords and fight and employ signs sporadically. So this is just basically straight up strength. I don't know what this symbol means. What does this symbol mean? Maybe that's time. No, because this is now 50 and this is 3. Oh, maybe that's cost. Maybe these are orange, this little circle here. I'm not sure. If you guys know, let me know. Okay. So this is for if you're going to go in, you're going to be using your sword primarily. It's especially helpful against resilient and heavily armored opponents. All right. Golden Oriole. Resistance to bleeding, resistance to incineration, resistance to poisoning. Golden Oriole, one of the best known Witcher potions, increases resistance to special attacks such as poisoning, incineration, and bleeding. The brew also negates the side effects of the Lapwing and Brock potions, while producing no side effects of its own. The potion increases toxicity slightly when imbibed. So minor intoxication and then slight intoxication. I don't know if there's like a number difference there, if one does slightly more than the other. Golden Oriole is recommended before fighting monsters that employ powerful special attacks. It is effective against venomous and fire-breathing creatures, as well as those that cause bleeding. So basically anything that's dealing out this, we want to have some Golden Oriole going into that. Petrie's Filter, damage bonus on signs, causes 50 toxicity. Oh, okay, so here. Toxicity for both of these, the Rook and the Golden Ori, are both 25. So the wording change doesn't actually matter. But this toxicity is double either of those. Lasts for 10. I'm assuming these are minutes, duration-wise. This potion, created by a student of a famous mage of the First Conclave, is weaker than Stammelford's filter, but has no side effects. So I don't know what Stammelford's filter is yet, but we'll get there. Petrie's filter increases the intensity of Witcher signs, so the impact of the Ard, the defenses of the Quen, and the effectiveness of the Erden, and so on. So Quen, I believe, is the shield, Erden is the trap, Ard is the fire. And the nice thing about the trap is it kind of stuns guys, I think. Yeah, and then you can go around them and hit them in the back, so you deal more damage. So this is actually pretty nice. The potion increases toxicity very markedly. Okay, so 50 is referred to as like quite a bit. It is recommended for witchers who rely more heavily on magic than on their swords, and before fights against monsters vulnerable to signs. Cool. Falca's Blood, duration 3, so 3 minutes. Falca's Blood increases the maximum damage dealt with a sword. It differs from Whirl in that luck determines whether a witcher using the oil will land a hard or light blow. So this is a blade oil. This blade grease owes its name to King Viridank's daughter, a rebel known for her cruelty. That's cool. What would be great is if this had like, okay, so it references King Viridank's daughter, which we'll probably never hear about, right? This is probably some reference to the stories of the past. But it'd be cool if I could like click King Viridank and then get like a little bio of him or whatever. That would just be awesome. Falca's Blood is especially effective against resilient and heavily armored opponents. All right, so it's basically just like increasing the damage output of your sword. No complaints there at all. Maybe that's what this 50 is. Maybe this is like a damage output. I don't know. Brown oil. Wounds caused by a blade covered in brown oil do not heal. The blade grease also augments hemorrhaging. Hit an opponent with a blade covered with brown oil, adopt a defensive stance, and stall for time. The adversary soon drops to the ground due to loss of... Okay, so this causes... Oh, right here. Causes bleeding. This oil is ineffective against creatures resistant to bleeding. That's cool. So you'd hit him with the sword with brown oil, adopt a defensive stance, and stall for time. All right. One thing that I would like to see from you guys, and this isn't considered a spoiler, but some of you guys probably have like cool combinations of stuff. I would especially like to hear from people that have never played The Witcher, which is probably very few of you. But if you've never played The Witcher and you're just looking through these formulae, what do you think would go well together? Because this is... I'm really intrigued to start experimenting a bit with this. And I'm loving that some of them directly combo up with each other. Cat, we know what this is, but it's one of the potions Witchers use most often. After imbibing it... imbibing or imbibing, the Witcher is able to see it in total darkness and will avoid being surprised by any nocturnal creatures. The potion allows its user to see both living creatures and those made of inanimate matter, even through walls. Cat slightly disrupts perception, however, as a result of which its user deals less damage to monsters. Really? The Rook potion can be used to alleviate this. Okay, so using Cat reduces the amount of damage that you're gonna do, which is really interesting. I'm not, like, I don't know, it doesn't show in here that it would, it would decrease the damage, but probably on the actual potion itself, it would show that. So because it's just a formula, we're not gonna see some of those effects. But then, you can go with the Rook, which increases your damage output, to alleviate that. So very cool. Minor intoxication is recommended before entering a cave or crypt and before a midnight stroll through dangerous terrain. Samum. So stun of 30%, 15 to 30 damage. This is a bomb. A Zeracanian invention. Samum found its way north thanks to merchants and was later adopted by the Witchers. The bomb stuns and immobilizes all creatures within range, rendering them defenseless against the Witcher's blade. This bomb is ineffective against creatures resistant to stunning. Cool. So more so than the damage, that's really about like, there's a whole pack of guys toss this in there, stun them, get some time to think, and then take care of them. Or stun them, burn them, whatever it is. Just take care of them. It wouldn't really make sense to follow up Samum with your own, like, Ard sign, because it's a stun, right? So you wouldn't go stun bomb and then stun. I hope that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Where is the other one here that I was looking at? Ard, yeah, I think I said this one is fire. I might have been saying that, but Ard is the stun. Swallow, vitality regeneration. So we know Swallow from the past, but let's see if anything's changed. So +1, and then during combat is +1. It seems like there's 2 different ways you can regen your vitality and your vigor. So this lasts for 10 minutes. Symbolizing spring and rejuvenation, the Swallow lent its name to this potion that accelerates the rate at which wounds scab over and heal. As a universal brew, it is good on many occasions and additionally produces no side effects. The Witcher can use the Swallow potion to balance out some of the undesirable effects of potions like Thunderbolt, Maribor Forest, Lapwing, Tiara, and Stamelford's Filter. The potion increases toxicity slightly when imbibed. It is recommended before long fights. Slow but consistent vitality regen will provide a significant advantage over foes. Witchers unsure of the dangers they face in a given situation consume this universal brew as a failsafe. You're pretty much always drinking Swallow, especially before you're going into combat. There's no downside to it, really. I want to take a look at the tutorial here. We learned most of this in the tutorial section. I just want to see if there's anything more detailed. So combat, it looks exactly the same. Crafting, approach a craftsman and hire him. So this is new. This will activate the crafting panel. From the list on the left side of the screen, select the diagram. Once you select the diagram and the necessary components will automatically be moved. So we'll probably learn about this as we go, as we find a craftsman. I'm not too worried about it. Oh, okay, so you have to have a crafting diagram describing how it's produced. You have to have a craftsman. Diagrams can be purchased from traders, though you may also find them lying about for the taking. They list the components required. The components can be purchased from traders or just found. Craftsmen can be found in towns and villages, especially in their central sections. Don't forget to pay them, they do good work. All right. Brewing mixtures, so we learned about that. We no longer have to get alcohols, I guess. We're essentially using like maybe a mortar and pestle type thing to combine these ingredients together. That's the understanding that I have. Once you select a formula, suitable ingredients will automatically be moved to the slots in the middle of the screen, provided the necessary ingredients are present in the inventory. I don't know if alchemy has primary and secondary effects anymore. Let's see if it says anything here. Mixtures can only be created in meditation mode. List the basic substances required. Ingredients contain the basic substances required to create potions. Are harvested from plants and cut from the corpses of slain monsters. Signs, we know how this works, but let's take a read through it. Geralt can cast a series of different signs and produce a variety of effects. However, all signs show 2 coefficients. Okay, sign intensity and sign damage bonus. The first of these augments all effects generated by signs, which are not necessarily linked to the damage they deal. For example, a sign intensity of 2 denotes that the basic damage dealt by the Igni sign, so the fire sign, is increased by 200%. The second coefficient is added to the damage a given sign deals when hitting foes. Huh. Okay, that's kind of confusing to understand, but we'll probably learn or probably understand that a bit more as we go. Character development consists of acquiring new abilities. Each ability has 2 levels, and each level can be acquired for 1 talent. Abilities are distributed between 4 development paths: Training, Mage, Alchemist, and Swordmaster. Only the Witcher training path is unlocked at the start of the game. To unlock the remaining paths, you must first allocate 6 talents to abilities on the Witcher training path. In addition to combat abilities, Geralt will also acquire skills affecting how he relates to other characters, including Intimidation, the Axii Hex, and persuasion. Use these while talking to other characters to influence how a conversation proceeds. Each of these abilities has 3 levels with advances. So, okay, I love when there's certain skills that affect your conversation. Like, I love that. So I will definitely be looking into intimidation, persuasion. The Axie Hex, I don't know, like, if that's just referring to the sign where you can take control of somebody, or if that's where you can, if that just relates to conversation somehow. But I think it's probably relating to combat, specifically that one. Geralt can also acquire abilities for completing specific quests. Monster lore is an element apart, with higher levels of knowledge awarded for combating specific monsters and reading books about them. So that hasn't changed since the first Witcher. Acquiring additional information about foes increases Geralt's ability to fight them and allows him to destroy their nests. Oh, which is equivalent to exterminating them in a given area. Oh, that's kind of cool. So they'll have like a central location that they're essentially spawning from. And then you would go and if you learn how to, if you get like the journal entry for that monster, then you can take care of their home, their nest, and just eradicate them completely. That's interesting. Critical effects, apart from standard damage, Geralt and his foes may also deal critical effects. So these are all the things like bleeding, stuns, that kind of stuff. There are resistances as well that are deducted from the base chance. Some foes are completely immune to special critical effects. And then character attributes. So I've done this in reverse order, but it's all good. So we have damage, which defines the strength of the Witcher's strikes. This depends primarily on the currently equipped weapon and the abilities Geralt possesses. It often expresses a range, 5 to 10. The first number defines a minimum damage, while the second defines a maximum. Occasionally, damage may be expressed in percentage terms, denoting that a given item increases current damage dealt by the indicated percentage. Cool. Understandable. Armor is damage reduction. It's a value that's deducted from damage taken by Geralt. Damage reduction may also be expressed as a percentage, denoting that a given item increases current damage reduction by the rate indicated. Got it. So vitality is your health. Declines as the Witcher takes damage. If vitality drops to 0, Geralt dies. Vitality regenerates each second at rates that differ depending on whether the Witcher is currently in combat or not. Vigor is kind of like your endurance or your stamina. Affects the ability to cast signs and parry attacks, as well as the damage Geralt deals to foes. Oh, didn't know that. So if you have low vigor, then your damage output's going to be less as well. Okay. 1 point of vigor means that Geralt can cast a sign once or parry one attack. As vigor declines, the damage Geralt deals to foes also drops. Vigor regenerates each second at rates that differ depending on whether the Witcher is currently in combat or not. Adrenaline appears in an added attribute in later stages of the game and affects a series of Geralt's special abilities. Geralt can employ given abilities once the adrenaline bar is fully charged. Depending on the chosen development path, Geralt can generate adrenaline in one of 3 ways: by attacking foes with his sword, casting magic signs, or by consuming potions, and thus increasing his toxicity. Interesting. So, I wonder if there's, over the course of the entire game, I wonder if there's enough chance to really have like a balanced character, to have really strong sword and really strong signs, or are you kind of forced to go with one or the other? And if you balance it out, you might be weaker overall because your sword's kind of like, your damage is kind of medium, your signs are all kind of medium. That's interesting. I'm excited to see where this goes. So, that being said, we've covered off everything. Now, everything that we get, so journal entries, monster lore, like character backgrounds, as they come up, I'm gonna read them, assuming I'm not in like middle of a battle. And that way, we can just stay on top of it. Everybody's up to date, and it puts us in a really good informed position about what's happening. So to summarize right now, basically, Foltest is at war with the Lavalettes. Basically, he had an affair, or a love, whatever you want to call it, with Mary Louisa Lavalette, and apparently fathered 2 bastard children in Bowsy and Anais. And then now everyone's pissed. King Foltest is attacking here. He's attacking on the Lavalette Castle. I don't know who, like, the husband is. Does it say here? It just says that she was, like, married to a much older man. The king. Where is he? Yeah, married to markedly older men. So I'm not sure who she's married to. Does it say in here? It doesn't. So the Lavalettes, I guess, are rebelling, and that pissed off Foltest, and he's like, hey, well, I kind of hooked up with you, so let's destroy you. I don't know. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Going forward, I can't see there being a whole lot of episodes that are just going to be journals or anything like we just went through, because I'm going to try to tackle those things as they come. But I thought this was necessary, and I wanted to cover off a lot of information. Once again, this isn't replacing the episode for today. You're going to see this at the same time. So, I hope you enjoy. I'll talk to you next time. And I'm just like super stoked. Hope that's obvious. Okay, thanks again. Bye.